Hey everyone, it's Julianne here and welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I created this thanks card that I made for Tailored Expressions, where I used a big beautiful floral from one of my favorite collections that they offer, and that's their Big Blooms collection. For my card today, I am going to be using the Big Blooms Hollyhocks stamp set, as well as the So Many Thanks sentiment set. So let's get started. I'm going to be starting out my card by stamping the Big Blooms Hollyhocks stamp set. And for my stamping today, I am going to be using my Misty. And since this is a red rubber stamp, I am going to be making sure that I remove that foam insert that the Misty has. Unlike clear stamps, red rubber stamps already have that foam attached to them, so you don't need the foam insert. I am going to be stamping the Big Blooms Hollyhock stamp set a few times, and I'm going to be stamping that floral each time using some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm going to be stamping on some Express It blending cardstock, so that way I can do some Copic coloring today. So once I get that first image all stamped out, I'm then going to flip my cardstock around and I'm going to stamp it an additional time. I did end up stamping this image a total of 6 times, but I will do the rest of my stamping off camera. Once I have all of my stamping done, I'm then going to start working on my Copic coloring, and I have sped up this process for the video. I'm going to be starting off by showing you how I colored in all of the stems and leaves for each one of my images. And if you've been here before, maybe this is your first time, my preferred way of coloring is starting out with my lightest shade, working my way out to my darkest, and then back down to my lightest to blend everything in together. For the leaves and the stems, I ended up grabbing the wrong marker for my lightest color, so I am going to be starting in with my medium shade of YG23, but I'm just going to be adding that color where I'm going to be creating my shadows. I'm then going to be coming in with my darkest shade of YG17, and I'm going to be deepening and darkening those shadows before working my way back down to my lightest shade, which is going to be YG13, in order to blend everything in together. Now, once I had blended all those colors together, I really wanted to add some more shading, so I am going to be going back in with my darkest shade of that YG17, and I'm going to be deepening all of those shadows. Once I get that first area colored in, I'm then going to go back down to my normal lightest to darkest, darkest to lightest coloring method. Once I have finished coloring in all of my leaves and stems, I'm then going to start working on coloring in all of my flowers. To save even more time in this video, I'm just going to be showing you how I color in 1 or 2 flowers for each color combination. And if you are interested in any of the colors I'm going to be using today, I will make sure to have all of my marker caps off to the side so you can follow along. And I'll be right back. Now with all of my coloring done, I'm going to work on cutting out each of those floral images. Now there definitely is a coordinating die set for this stamp, but I currently don't own that, so I am going to be using my scan and cut machine. But you could definitely also fussy cut these images out as well. Next, I'm going to start working on assembling everything together. And to start out, I'm going to be playing around with the placement of my sentiment, as well as the placement of all of those floral images that I just colored in. Off camera, I did trim down a piece of 80-pound white cardstock to 4 by 5 1/4, and I also trimmed down a piece of black cardstock to A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That way, when I place my card panel onto that black piece of cardstock, I'm going to have that really nice black border all the way around my card. Now, I definitely did color in way more hollyhocks than what would fit on my card panel, so I am going to be using those remaining pieces on a second card that I will show you a little bit later on in this video. But once I have a good idea of where I want everything on my card, I'm then going to be lining back up my card panel back into my MISTI, and I'm going to be stamping 2 sentiments from the So Many Thanks sentiment set onto the top right-hand corner of my card panel. I am going to be stamping both of those sentiments down using some more of that Memento Tuxedo black ink that I used earlier. Now with both of those sentiments stamped out, I'm now going to start working on adhering down my floral images that I am going to be using for this card. I'm going to start off by lining up each of those hollyhocks, and then I'm going to be adhering the purple flower first, since I am wanting that one to be behind both the yellow and pink flowers. To adhere both the purple and yellow flowers, I am going to be using some liquid adhesive for that. And once I have that purple flower adhered down, I'm then going to be adhering the yellow flowers on the left-hand side of my card panel. Next, I'm going to be adhering the pink flowers on top of the other two. But to give my card that little bit of added dimension, I am going to be adhering that hollyhock in the center, but this time I am going to be using some foam adhesive instead of liquid adhesive. Once I have adhered all 3 of those images, I'm just going to flip my card panel over, and using a pair of scissors, I'm just going to trim off any excess that may be hanging off. Now that I have all of my images adhered, I'm now going to be adhering my card panel down to that piece of black colored cardstock that I showed you earlier. And to add even more dimension to my card, I am going to be adhering that down using some more of that foam adhesive. Next, I'm going to be adhering everything to my card base, and for my card today, I did create a top folding A2 size card base. Finally, to finish off this thanks card, I am going to be scattering some cupcake rhinestone mix from Honeybee Stamps throughout my background, and I'm going to be adhering each of those using the precision tip glue that Honeybee Stamps offers as well. Once I have those last couple rhinestones adhered, that's going to complete my card for today. I just love how this card came out, and if you haven't had a chance to check out the Tailored Expressions Big Bloom collections, I definitely encourage you to do so. You will see here in a second the card that I created with the extra floral images that I colored in. And I want to thank you all so much for stopping by and spending some time with me. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe for even more card making ideas. If you are interested in any of the supplies I used today, they will all be listed and linked down below in the description box. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day and happy crafting!